Good morning, everyone. Once again, thank you very much for finding a time, firstly for the camp, and then again being a part of this last activity that we are going to have. I had shared yesterday so that we have a structure to what we do today. We are just meeting here, kind of saying goodbye, and for a couple of hours. But we will also utilize this time to share some more information with you, which will be very useful going ahead. So, like I said yesterday, and all of you met, most of you met Mr. John LaRoche. He is the founder and the CEO of JAGA. So, we are all here because of this concept which John had started. And today we will hear from him formally a little bit about what is the concept of JAGA, what is in store for us going forward, like our Indian campus is coming here in ITC, so he can tell us a little bit more about it, what's his plan about that. JAGA is trying to do the JAGA way of training. So we will discuss that part a little bit so that those of you who might consider joining JAGA in future, in case you do, then what are you expecting? We would like to share that with you. And then after that, camp reports are under compilation. All the coaches has given me their individual reports. Now I have to just compile and I'll send it to you, the soft copy by tomorrow latest.
Thank you, DK. And first of all, I know that we had a chance to catch up a bit yesterday, but it's truly my honor to be here. It's a wonderful facility, and I think we're all very privileged. I said to a couple of people yesterday, when we began this, I used to go out to golf courses and try to explain what JAGA is. Sorry, technology is just not cooperating right now, so I'm trying to send you a file, and I just want to make sure it doesn't dump on us at the end, so DK can watch that. It was a concept, and it was a concept based on experience. And I, like so many of you, am a parent first. And with being a parent, I know the struggles of the athlete, of the student, time, you're being pulled in multiple directions, plus you probably work. All of those things combined make for a pretty chaotic lifestyle. I think I blinked and my children went from being 10 years old to 17 or 18 years old, and I had no idea where the time went. I was a member of the Hong Kong Olympic Association and responsible for ice sports. Let me reassure you, Hong Kong never sent anyone to the Olympics for ice sports, but that's okay. We did our very best to have athletes go to the next level. But in that process, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about how organizations and associations, government works. I learned that there are different ways and alternatives, but maybe the most significant thing that I realized was how little I actually knew about this. I mean, we were raising 2 children and both were athletes, both of them full-time students, but having never been through this process before, we didn't know what the answers were. And we did our very best. And I think we had a great conversation yesterday with a small group where we said, I sent my kids to good schools, I put them with the best coaches, my job's done. I hand it off to somebody else to finish the job. In the end, I wound up becoming chairman of the youth hockey, and then ultimately the Olympic Association, for no other reason than there was a gap there. I couldn't just hand over this next stage in their development because the people I was working with had as many questions as I did. Through that process, it became obvious that if my son was going to be an elite athlete, it wasn't going to happen in Hong Kong. So I went to Canada, found a place for my son, and I told you this story already, live, play hockey, and go to school. And not only did it help him, but it decluttered our lives as well. 10 years later, when we were going through this process, and I was sitting down with Black Mountain about 2 years ago to explain the concept, similar experience, but it was still a concept, and until we could bring it and make it come alive, they weren't going to fully understand. And I'm not going to say we had to push them hard, but it wasn't an immediate acceptance. They wanted to know what this was. And over the next couple of months, we had begun the recruiting process and brought in our first students. When they saw it in and on their golf course, not only were we not a burden to them, but they took great pride in having a structured junior development program that they could be a part of. And from that day forward, we were no longer sellers of the JAGA program. We were buyers of a location that we wanted to be at. Golf courses started coming to us, countries began coming to us, parents came to us wanting to not invest for the purposes solely of being a good business, although they probably thought it was a good business. They came to us with the desire to have us move and come to their country. That's JAGA in September. It's someone all of you know. But Kartik Singh will join JAGA full-time in September at Classic. So that's a significant development for us. We've worked with DK and his family over the last couple of years in developing this. And I think that although Kartik attends our campus at Black Mountain in Thailand, he has a very busy schedule, not the least of which his family is in India. And for him to be a little bit closer to home, we couldn't be more excited. And for those of you that come to Classic, you'll have the opportunity to spend a lot more time with Kartik and play with him and train with him. So with that, I'm going to hand back to DK, but I encourage you to think about this. I know it's a huge decision for your families, but I can tell you, having lived it myself and now opening up our 5th campus, the other side is solid ground. The sun shines over there, and in many ways, the things you love to do, you'll be able to do those at the next level. I call that the JAGA bump. By decluttering your lives, not running around every day, and unfortunately in your case sitting in a lot of traffic, we expect all of our students to see a bump, not only in their golf, but also in their education, because I don't have to tell you, I'm sure you compromise one or both every day that you're out training, playing, or in a classroom. So DK, thank you. Thank you for all the work you did this week. It was amazing. I nervously asked that question at the closing yesterday if there were any regrets, and thank you for supporting us, and we just couldn't be happier with how the week went.
Thank you, John. Like John said, this is the future plan. Now I'll tell you from a parent's perspective, just broadly what we are looking at, what JAGA is for us as parents and golfers. So that is how I got into JAGA, because like all of us, we are trying to put all the puzzle pieces together: physical fitness, mind training, golf training, school, So it's very big challenge. And here also in Delhi area, although everything you can get it, what we saw and we try to tell you in the camp, nutrition is important, fitness is important. So those of you and all of you are trying to aspire and become an elite golfer. Those are the puzzle pieces we need to put together. Now, putting them together is very, very challenging because they are dispersed all over the place, and all parents are busy, kids have to go to school. It's very difficult. That's when we had gone to Thailand to play a tournament, Black Mountain, and then when I saw this, that everything is coming together in one place. The kid will live there, golf is there, fitness will happen, tournaments in Thailand are very good, very high standard. I was straight away bought, and I decided I will shift Kartik there, and we joined last year itself. We could not move there because I had some technical reasons, from my restrictions from my office side. We could not move, but whenever given a chance, Karthik has been going and he loves the overall experience. Now also he that is the only place where Karthik demands that can we go there again, spend a few days, because he has been excellent friends. Golf is very easy, the standard of the course is. So similar thing, then I decided, and we worked together that why can't we have it in India? Then we were looking for a good venue, and that is where Arjun became very crucial. He got this agreement with ITC. I think this is the best venue which is possible for having that kind of a setup in our country, where we have nearby villas. If those kids, anybody wants to stay, they will stay over there. The golf course here is 27 holes, very good quality. You have seen the clubhouse and everything. So it fitted our bill, and that is why we have gone ahead with that. So now at JAGA, primarily broadly, although I have shared a document with you which you can go through later on, studies, no distraction, plus they have that classroom environment. So when you're doing it on your bed, in your own room, that kind of discipline is not there. Many times you won't study even for 1 hour. That happens with everyone. But here, you will go sit in the class, study for 3 hours, so you'll never fall back. If you go for a tournament, your study pauses there. When you come back, you start from there. The teachers will not take care that you don't lag behind. Your main teachers are in Canada, so they evaluate all the exams and all happen. By God, that it happens here. Question paper is printed by the teacher. Exam day, it is given to you. You have to write in that particular time when the teacher uploads it, and it gets evaluated in Canada. So there is no compromise on studies. I'm telling you, the studies are as good or maybe better than a normal school.
Can I just add one element there? In all of our classrooms, we have a math and sciences teacher and we have a liberal arts teacher. In addition to facilitating and pacing the students to ensure that they stay on track, graduate on time, finish studies and exam preparation, they also do workshops. They will do one-on-one study, and every night after dinner, 7 to 8, because we move at pace, there's a study session there. So it's more than a monitor in the classroom. They teach content to support what comes from the Canadian teachers, which is state. But the beauty of this hybrid system is the students will never miss an hour of class. I've heard for many years teachers saying, don't worry, well, I'll work with you when you come back, or if you have to take a few days off, we'll catch up on Saturday. The success of those follow-up sessions are limited, to say the least. And we never rely on the teacher doing extra work or the student having to do extra work. When they come back from a tournament or a trip, we just repace them. And they're not expected to do that on their own. So it is all the benefits of a teacher, as DK said, with the flexibility of having a lot of the content taped.
We do everything in very small groups. Either it will be just dedicated sessions, or even if it is in a group, we try to do it in as small groups as possible, so that your attention of the coach is available. This is followed throughout. It's not that some 10 or 20 kids are doing it at one time. That is why we split into groups, we do a lot of planning and discuss with a lot of coaches, but that is where it makes a difference, and that's why many success stories are already coming in Highland campus. We started with over there with 6 or 7 students, and now it is overflowing. It's already 35, and next session they are expecting 45. They can't take more than that. So that is what broadly it is about. I have shared the document, 2 documents with all of you. One is this JAGA India, very, very basic information brochure. It is not sacrosanct, things will change into that a little bit, because we are still trying to finalize a few things. Realize that whatever we are doing, and that training is very useful, very effective, we need to come out with a very formalized and documented way, so that it can be repeated, it can be followed by every coach, every campus, and it is not dependent on individuals. As far as possible, there has to be a structure to it. That structure is called JAGA Way. We had a coaches summit. John took a lot of efforts. He gathered all the coaches in the pipeline at that time existing. We all sat together for 3 days. in Thailand, did a lot of brainstorming. Alan was there. Shane Gillespie, most of you will know him. He was the guy who was heading it. He's very famous. He has been coach of Shiv Kapoor, Chirag Kumar, and many pros. Most of the pros go now also. He's Bangkok based. Most of our juniors, they go take the training from him, and they come here and they are taking training from follow-up training from Chirag Kumar, and also he's very renowned. He's American, and so we got him his ideas to test that why he's so good and why people go there. He charges a very high amount for everyone, but we got him. He is now kind of our director of golf overall, and he headed this discussion how we should make it repeatable, and we came out with something called the JAGA way. So we discussed that we should first outline what we are looking at creating. Okay, it is there in that document that you will see. Character is one. Then help me with that. No, first is fundamental and practice is another. Yeah, physical and mental health is third. Tournament play and preparation is fourth.
Yep.
And academics. So character, academics, physical and mental health, tournament play, and fundamentals and practice. We very objectively define this, and then we have now laid down in all these 5 areas. We are going to have a structure. So we will assess. There will be assessment where the kids are right now. Then there will be training, which is going on. Golf is one thing, but everything, all these aspects. And there will be periodic assessments, periodic rewards, which will make the entire thing. So a student may be, and how do you do the assessment and how do you do the rewards? We adopted something called the Juro belt, color belt system. So because it is very popular, so that's why we thought this will be interesting for the kids. So there are 6 belts. White belt is the bottom, then yellow, then orange, then blue. Orange and blue is like in the middle, then brown and black, which you gave a little bit, which we gave you the little bit taste yesterday. But in all these dimensions, the JAGA kids are being assessed, being trained, and being improved through this belt system. So there may be a student who is black belt in golf, but he is told that you are yellow in character because nobody likes you. You have to improve your leadership qualities. You leave your food on the table, you don't clean it, you don't make your bed. You are not, so he is told, and he is told that you may be black belt in golf, but unless you become black belt in character as well, you are academically weak, you are just yellow. You need to improve, otherwise you will not be the top elite person and golfer that we are looking at, college ready. He won't be. So now it is a very big news to him that okay, I was thinking I am super golfer, but I have to work in something else. Similarly, fitness. Somebody may be very good in fitness, but he is lacking in other things. So in all those 5 areas, and we have laid down structure for it. There are very clearly laid down what all will be the test, what will be the yardstick to decide which belt the person is following up. Then every 2 or 3 months there will be belt day. So in that there will be test in the driving range, there will be test on the golf course. It goes on for 2 days, and thereafter every student is given the belt color. This is the kind of awards they will get. The center will be their overall color, one of the color, and those 5 circles are in the individual sections. So it's kind of report card, but it is serving the purpose of inspiring them to improve and get the next belt.
Each one of those is a dial, and as the kids progress throughout the year, they can change their color on belt test day, as DK says. And then at the end of the year, they will be given a formal recognition. But the idea is it's a continuous process of identify through our analytics, apply through our training and practice, and achieve through the assessment on the day. And as much as we enjoy spending time on the practice area and on the putting greens and in the driving range, you can only move your belt color when you apply it on the golf course. Other metrics and variables that we can all monitor. And when the parents come on board and understand the role that you can play, all of a sudden that closes the loop, because you have a huge influence over your children every day. And we'll give you the tools now to have these, very informed kind of conversations. So this reporting process has worked out extremely well, and it takes into consideration all the things that DK just went through in terms of analysis and performance. Bring a team aspect to a very individual, historically, sport. We believe that this dynamic helps all the kids. First of all, it's more fun when you get to do it with somebody else. But increasingly, whether it's college golf or live or national team, there's more and more team play in what we're doing here. DK, maybe you talk a little bit about the Malaysia tournament, and just what the dynamic of what it's kids attending a tournament by themselves versus the JAGA team that went to this event.
Yeah, so we fielded our team. There was Malaysia Johor Junior Masters, and we got the opportunity. So rather than telling parents that this is the opportunity, you can go and play, we went as a team. 6 of our students went, 2 girls and 4 boys. So we made it like an incentive. Based on their performance, they got incentive, their tournament fees and stay, and most of the thing was covered by John from the academy side. So 2 things happened. First, it inspired one thing in the academy that, okay, this is academy will do, we will be part of the academy. When they played there, they played as a team, so that camaraderie came. That was the first time I realized every time Karthik will hit a shot, there will be claps. I was like, where is the clap coming from? Because somebody is teeing off from there, he's clapping from there, for his teammate. Somebody is on the green there, he's watching what Karthik is doing. Because Karthik was leading, they were cheering from him from all over the place. When he finished on the final day, first time I saw the whole team, and I have those pictures, we will keep it forever. The whole team was there waiting for him, all celebrations as if they have won. So that kind of camaraderie, the culture which I see in JAGA is, I will be very honest, is missing in our place. Here people are most jealous, then be positive and be a part of it, and it helps everyone if you can be a part of, somebody is doing better. And it happened like that. Out of 4 boys, 3 of them finished in podium. Out of 2 girls, 2 of them finished in podium. We got 2 first prizes and some second and third prize. So except 1, everybody was in the podium.
Yeah, if you don't mind me saying something, I'll just on the back of that one regarding team. I'm very fortunate to come from education and golf background. Prior to me setting up Black Mountain, I was director of golf at Scotland's #1 UK boarding school. Sorry girls, I was at it was an all-boys school, the only all-boys school. However, there's lots of boarding schools with mixed boys and girls. And it's still the same, regardless whether it's an all-boys school or boys and girls. It goes back to what we were talking about with team. Team atmosphere, team environment there's no substitute for it. Everybody's here as an individual. The parents take the kids round and you're there individually, and then you maybe meet up with your friends there. In Europe, as you know about the Ryder Cup, Europe has been so strong against America. And one of the main reasons is the close community, the team environment. They're all there to support one another. Yes, we know you play individually, but my year at JAGA in Black Mountain, we've created this team environment. And when you create this environment, it helps the learning process, which is right? The girls came round and saw it and started putting their arms around you, saying, come on. That was phenomenal, right? So that's what we want to create as well as everything else that's been said here. You guys have done a great job here talking about it. There's not much else to say, but the team environment, you will never find it anywhere else. I've been in so many academies around the world. This is a school, and in a school, with a fantastic golf academy, with a culture, yes, it's individual, but it's a togetherness.
Let me just give you a little bit of a practical example of what DK and Ellen have been going through. First of all of our kids not only have uniforms, but they have travel wear. So they travel as they look similar. All of our kids have the same golf bag with their flag and their name on it, so they all look the same. And that when the black bag comes out and it's consistent across all the kids, there's a feeling that we're part of something bigger. But kind of what struck me and almost caught my breath a little bit was the story that DK told about Malaysia. When our kids wake up in the morning and they're traveling as a team, they go into the breakfast area. Scattered around the room, and I know you've all been there, are individual kids with their families or their caretakers, getting ready for that day. The JAGA team is 6 or 8 kids together, doing this process as a team, and all of the kids looking at them with envy, wishing that they were at the table with the team instead of being by them. I'm sure they love their parents, incredibly, but this is a different experience. If I turn that and to be a little bit more practical as a guest to the recent British PGA International Conference in Bangkok at the end of April, and I was able to share the JAGA approach and the JAGA way, and I was reassured that this is a gap in the European game. There's nothing like this that exists there. So what we're talking about is not just an Indian initiative or an Asia Pacific initiative. We stand up on an international basis as being truly innovative and ahead of the game. I'm going to ask Mark to share his experience recently in Canada. So as you know, Canada is heavily influenced by the US, and the development and the progress and the junior structure in North America is that element that we haven't really spoken about. Just to reassure you that what we're doing is ahead of the curve, not only in India, not only in Asia Pacific, but in these, in Europe, my experience. But I would like Mark to talk a little bit about, he was interviewed recently by PGA Canada.
Yes, sure. Well, again, we're very happy that even the PGA of Canada, PGA of Quebec, have decided to become official partners of JAGA. Again, there's a lot of things that can be done here and there. But again, when a PGA association decides to come on board, it's again because we are able to see that there is a gap. Everybody's doing some good things, but there's a gap, and we are building those bridges right now with what we're doing with JAGA and JAGA Way. So even in a country like Canada, so like you said, it's not only in Asia, South Asia, it's everywhere. And getting the support of the different PGAs is a major, it's something that's really heavy on our continuity, and what we're doing is giving us a good push in the right direction. So yeah, so even in Canada, it's something that's been really open armed, and yeah, PGA of Canada has come on board, so we're really happy with that.
Which I can remember of. Firstly, the advantages of having 4 or 5 campuses is that anybody joining JAGA campus, you have the opportunity. You can go to the other campus such as Thailand or Dubai, and stay there for a substantial period like a month, 2 months, whatever you decide. Very negligible cost difference, and you can get training under those coaches, play the tournaments over there in those conditions possible. And very unique, like you saw here. We are doing a camp. We have got Mark from Canada. We got Alan from Scotland. So we will always have a big resource of pool of resources, because all 5 campuses combined will have at least 15 to 20 good PGA qualified coaches. Where else you will get? We can always have kind of this visiting coaches if we feel the need, who can come for a week and help out with some particular aspects. That is very unique. Like I said, the tournament preparation and other things are also taken care of as an academy itself, which also is a very unique aspect of JAGA.
Taking lessons before parents included, I'm sure, right? But one thing that's pretty much paramount throughout the world is you hear, I'm at, say a student's at an academy, and then they get lessons. And then a month later, another coach in the academy says something else, or maybe puts it across differently, but means the same thing. That happens everywhere in the world. So there's confusion for the student. So this is another big part that we've brought to the JAGA table here. Now I can put my hand up and also say, right, will we ever have a student that comes to us complaining that, look, I've got conflicting advice here? I'm sure it will happen. That's my hand up. However, we're there to cope with it because we have a structure. We have a coaching structure. We're not teaching a mythology. It's not, right, everybody must swing this same way, right? Which is important for the parents to understand and the students, right? But we have a proper structure in place where all the coaches are bought into this structure. Yes, not every coach can say the exact same words to the pupil, but if we have not a mythology, but we have a system in place where all the coaches know what they're doing, from fundamentals to the swing to practice to the drills. There's a structure there. And there's also, there's that environment. So, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. I mean, how many kids, I'm sure, say, well, how many coaches have you had in the last 2 years? Some kids might say, I've had 8 coaches. Some might say 6 coaches. Some might say 3 coaches. But that tends to be what we hear, right? Can be an issue. But I'm positive. I've done a year in Black Mountain with 3 other coaches. There's now 4 coaches there. And because of this structure, it's so good. There's no students coming going, oh, but he says that, or the lady teacher said that, I'm confused. Because I think academies have that, what's the word I'm looking for? Culture, yeah, thank you, John. It's almost like, not all academies, but it's a common culture that's out there. You know, we don't want to have our kids to have, how many maths teachers do you have? One.
Yeah.
How many English teachers do you have? One. How many science teachers do you have? One. Do you want 6 golf coaches? No. Right? Okay, but we'll have 3 or 4 coaches, but because we work towards the structure that we have, we're taking away the element of confusion for the student to learn. Because for the parents, things are important to understand. We're very wise to what goes on.
So even that team spirit that we're trying to build through with you guys was pretty much the same thing as us as PGA pros, where we're used to being alone and teaching in our little thing, in our little space, but now it's, again, we're a team working together, and so that's even takes, well, for me, takes kind of like everything a step up, team, everybody together, and we're pushing all in the same direction. So that's a big difference in just the way we see golf here at JAGA.
We don't want individual coaches on ego trips saying that person's my player. I'm not telling you what I'm teaching that player. Like we've learned, we spent 5 days, the first time we spent 5 days together. We've talked about the golf swing, we've shared ideas. So it's all about this team. Arjun's the same. And that's key. So it's not just the environment created by the students, it's the coaches as well. We bring coaches in. We don't want individual coaches on ego trips because they want to have the best player in the world and go around telling everybody. No, it's the whole JAGA. It's the whole JAGA environment that's created that.
So first thing, when we decided to bring on Arjun on board, what we did, Black Mountain 7 days, 15 days. First thing, before we actually sign him up. First thing what we did when we decided to bring Mark on board, and training at Black Mountain, because teaching individually is something else, but here we are talking about culture. It's like little different from what he has been doing. So if he's okay with understanding what we are trying to have, what is our concept, and then, so first thing we did was this. So all our coaches will go through this process in order to have that.
Right.
Yeah, please.
I just want to add something on top of the continuation of what DK was saying, was that when John and DK met me here in India to explain me about what JAGA was, to be honest, I was not completely convinced on what exactly it meant. And I think it was great to have the coaches summit. And so just after meeting them, I was just going to Thailand coincidentally for a vacation, and I managed to take the trip to Hua Hin and meet John for a day.
Not managed, I had to force him. he was so lazy, he said it's 3 hours drive, you think it makes sense.
Yeah.
I have only 6 hours after
And DK, but that it makes sense because he was on a vacation.
So, yeah,
I said, whatever I might tell you, you will not realize what I'm talking about unless you go physically and see what is happening in the campus. Please go.
So
Let's
I
go
went
up.
there and I met John for half a day, and it was a very short visit, but I got a fair idea what it was. And just after that, I think in the next 2 months, there was a coaches summit. There were about 7 or 8 coaches from different campuses, some in the pipeline, some already existing at Black Mountain. And we were there for about 4 days for the summit. And after that, I was there for 10 more days to just understand how everything worked. And I worked with a lot of kids over there, with the coaches, with the team, just to understand that what am I getting myself into. There were 2 really important things to stand out, apart from the others, which made me convinced on why I would want to be with JAGA here in India. One was, and these came from my own struggles with my students that I work with. One was the concept of traditional schooling, because it takes so much of time during the day, exams, tests and everything, and at the same time the parent and the player expect to get results of winning or getting a podium finish nationally, internationally. It is very difficult to bridge the gap. So what happens in that time is there's a lot to do and very little time. Also, the kid from morning 7 o'clock till 3 o'clock in school is so tired. Apart from that, there is homework, there are tuitions. They want to do a golf lesson, they want to do fitness, they want to go to see a mind trainer, they want to play on the course. So what they end up doing is a little bit, 1-2 hours a day, and on Sundays and Saturdays they play 36 holes. Now what that does is it tires the body, it confuses the player. The player is trying to achieve too many things, and that was one thing that I've always had with parents, is that if this is what you want, you have to get the kid to take some off from school. But the schools are very strict on the kids attending and their attendance in school. So that is a missing gap. I think that JAGA kind of does, is the teacher is there, the school is there at the same place where the kid stays or practices and trains. So that was one thing. The other thing was that the other small parts or the spokes of making an elite golfer, like mental training, club fitting, nutrition, fitness, are scattered at very different places, and also the golf course. Now, for example, Gia trains with me. She comes to my academy to train. She plays on a different golf course. The fitness coach is in a different place. The nutritionist is somewhere else, and the club fitter is in a different city. So it becomes very difficult as a team to coordinate with every person to get them on board to work for a single player. These were the 2 main reasons on why JAGA really, I thought India definitely needs, not only India but all kids around the world looking at playing elite level of golf needed, because even if one of them is missing, the player is losing out somewhere. So yeah, I think that was the thing that got me interested in being a part of JAGA, these 2 things.
Just remember, unique thing I was talking about is the WAGA. So all of you are going or already there in that zone where WAGA starts mattering. So like John alluded to it shortly, we will be a part of, rather we are the host of this international series WAGA events. Okay, we just hosted our first event in Dubai, Alain, which was a huge success. Sir was there, Siran was, you were there, right? You played that.
Yeah.
So more than 20 countries participated, but these things also on the behest of APGC, JAGA is doing. Okay, so we will have our own tournaments in addition to what you are already doing. But you see, you don't have to look anything beyond also. International tournaments which are WAGA, it happened in our own courtyard. We will be conducting it. You will be the first ones. And anything else you want to do is good, but we don't have to. We are self-sustained from that point of view also. There will be 30 tournaments in all those countries. Those countries will be our partners, and there will be a lot of incentives, lots of opportunities for everyone. And then there will be a separate order of merit which will be maintained. In Thailand, as on date, I am telling you, JAGA has started dominating now. Those kids of JAGA, they go and top 5, you'll find at least 3 kids from JAGA. Same thing I want to see in India in next year. And it's quite doable, possible, because our structure is like that, and we, whoever joins, that is what our dream is, that we have the same thing in India.
I thought, I talk a lot, and people get tired of listening to me. I'm sure you're too blank to tell me. But what I just chose to do in this time is we brought 2 of our students in, our head boy and head girl, and I had them tell the JAGA story. At the risk of this taking maybe 10 or 15 minutes, I'd like them to talk to you as well. Okay, so we taped the session at the Alain campus. It was chaired by myself and by General Abdullah, the head of EGF, but all of the discussion is from the students. So you're no longer listening to the panelists and the coaches. Maybe I can let you listen to the students if you don't mind. It's going to take a little bit of time. January. We knew that tournaments season was going to be kind of mid-April. So what we did is we kept everybody on the schedule they had been on all year until the last week of March. The last week of March we changed the schedule. First thing we did is reduce class time. So we almost cut it in half. Because we knew that you guys were going to be into a very intensive tournament period, keeping the education schedule at that level would have held you back from putting the extra time into your preparation. So we went down to about 2.5 hours a day from 4 on education. The second thing we did is, as DK also said, we play 9 holes every day. Okay? In this period, because we had to get people ready for WAGA events, which are 3 days, 3 18s. That's pretty intensive if you've only been playing 9 holes. So we moved to 18s. Now we're spoiled in Thailand because we have 10 quality golf courses around Black Mountain. But we started playing the other courses. Black Mountain is the best, but we're going to be playing many different courses. And our comfort zone, we needed to shake it up a little bit. So we started playing the courses around us. And we did that for about 2 weeks prior to tournament season kicking off. So I used, this is the Einstein, what Einstein made famous. If you're not going to do anything different, don't expect a different result. We shook everybody and said, this is different. So whatever you've done to get here is all about your preparation in getting there. Now you have to change your gears. You have to find the extra gear and be ready on those days. I won't go into the details. We have some wonderful examples, including an Indian boy who went from a 3 or 4 handicap to being right with Kartik on day 3 within 1 shot at a WAGA event. He shot 20 under on 3 days, and he was a 3 or 4 handicap. Armand. Yeah, Armand. But that's only one example. We had Chelsea, a Thai, she's 13 years old. I think she might weigh 40 kilos, maybe. And she came to us as about an 18 handicap. She shot 65 at the US Kids tournament. I mean, she shocked us all. All of our kids had personal bests over that tournament period. They didn't all win, but what I loved about one of the things DK said is when you look at the top 5 or top 10, increasingly dominated by the JAGA kid. We don't win every tournament.
how do you find like manage different gears here? Like we have very less golf courses around here, hardly 2 golf courses here.
That's okay. You know, again, we can get, so we were meeting with the management here, and you know, they have a challenge tour event. Well, guess what's going to happen on the challenge tour week here? They don't want to see us, you know, unless we're volunteering, I guess, or something like that. That might be the week that we get in a van and we go to one of the other courses and we stay there. That is a very common thing for us to do. That might be a period of time that we could go and spend not a week in Dubai, maybe 2 weeks. And the great thing, other than travel costs, there are no other costs for you, because you already paid here. And we built it in that way that your education travels with you. Your team travels with you. Access to the golf course there is the same as if you were here. So we're not taking on a lot of extra costs. We will customize that final leg to something that's meaningful and possible in India. But we have all of these tools available.
And we have this area, Delhi NCR, we have so many courses. And the best part is our cost is on actuals. Like, it's not that we have to play only this course. So it will be management's decision. In the same green fee, we don't pay to ITC, we take to Karma, we talk to Kutub, we go to JP. Anywhere we can go. We decide one day, take a van, morning, everybody goes and plays there. So it's quite workable, you know, because it's on actuals. It's not a lot for college or anything. Then this education will be any day more recognized. In fact, like John said, it is so well recognized that compared to US education also, what Laurel Springs, other kids are doing, some of the Indian kids, this one is supposed to be giving you one extra credit. So 85% in OSSD is as good as 95% in the US curriculum.
Yes, it's 4.0. And on that same note, what you'll be able to do is leverage this education to any school in the U.S. So in my little presentation that we shared with you, kids graduating from NPU in the last 12 months have been accepted to Stanford, Harvard, Penn, all of the top schools. So you will have no issue, as long as you're a good student and you want to go there, gaining access on an equivalent or topped up. Because if you get to a 95 in OSSD, you're above a 4.0. And there you are on another plane. So no need for APs, no need for SATs unless the school requires it. In most cases, an OSSD can bypass an SAT score. Our kids with this education are above question, even compared to the local US system.
And the curriculum, I have seen it now for last 1 year, it's excellent. The quality of study materials, the gizmos, it is fantastic, top of the line. It is so nice, self-explanatory. I have seen it personally with Karthik, the science gizmos and all. It is easily explainable, lot of support, very, very nicely done. It is good. Secondly, there is the JAGA has regional team which will actually be helping those who are in grade 11 and 12 in this process of applying for colleges, getting seen by them, their resume to be sent. So we have that system also in place. We already have, like John said, one student has already gone and joined the college, and as next year there will be 2-3 who will be graduating. They are all in grade 12 this year. So the JAGA will help them, like Alan knows coaches, you know, getting to the coaches, submitting the resumes, helping with the entire process. We have two of our students have gone and joined the college this year.
Do you want to talk about that, Alan? That college recruitment? I'll cover for you until you clear your mouth. But Alan's been, as you will find, has been not only active but dynamic in getting 2 of our kids now into university with scholarships. So that kind of closes the loop on that part of the equation. So
Yeah, I mean, I was very lucky. I mean, when I was you guys' age, I was recruited pretty well because I was the #1 junior player in Scotland. So I ended up going through the NCAA system and going to college. And also partly due to the agreement with my father, he said, because I wanted to turn pro, he said, well, not until you get your university education and your degree. Once you get that, then you can turn pro. So obviously I went across the States, studied geosciences, got my degree, and then obviously I turned pro after that. So during my time there, I mean, it was phenomenal. Probably 4 or 5 of the best years of my life growing up. During that time, I've made a lot of friends, a lot of connections, and I've stayed in touch with a lot of the pros to this day. So I'm kind of involved as well in helping kids finding scholarships.
So you want to talk about Casey?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you know of Casey. Casey's from China. We found her in a driving range in the middle of Chiang Mai.
15 months ago.
15 months ago.
Was not in school, hadn't been in school for 18 months, was pursuing her golf while trying to get a visa to the US, and we found her on a driving range in Chiang Mai.
So then we managed to get Casey to join us at White Mountain. Casey's still there, obviously, but she's had a great time. She's progressed really well. And then I discussed with her, so like, okay, what's your plan? She says, oh, I want to go to America, coach. I said, okay. So I got in touch with I got in touch with about 4 or 5 universities. And then there's a good friend of mine who's the head coach at Kansas State, which is a good D1 school, and sent the profile of Casey. We did a couple of Zooms, and then the following week, she was offered a 100% scholarship to Kansas State for the next 4 years. So that was just one of the stories. But yeah, going back to US recruitment, you know, as John and DK have talked about, that, you know, we're pretty good at the latter end of the stage of looking after kids that maybe want to pursue that career.
You have to do APs. And the Canadian grade 12 courses, math, science, English, are AP level. Okay, so it's a redundant process. We know that because in the first year, you can get advanced placement because you've taken an AP. You will get those same advanced placements by graduating with OSSD.
And if you're graduating from NPU, no need to write SAT.
So yeah, so we can't guarantee 100%, but we know in general SATs are being kind of moved away. Things like APs help with that, OSSD helps with that. There are still some schools that would say to you, we don't require it, but you can write it, you know, I will look at it. And if you're coming from a location where you have a diploma that isn't recognized, I mean, you probably won't get a look from that school unless you write your SAT, even if it's not a requirement. That is not the case with OSSD. In fact, if you go on to many of the school, particularly the higher level schools, and you go through their admissions process, you will see an automatic button for OSSD. That it just it streamlines the process. It doesn't hurt that Canada is next to the U.S. And therefore the knowledge level of and awareness level is quite high. But through this evaluation that was recently done, Canada came out at the top. Very similar approach to the Finnish education system, which is also held in quite high regard, and for the same reason that there's no standardized tests. Standardized tests are built because the structure below them isn't adequate to evaluate a student. There's no benefit in writing a standardized test. That's why in the Canadian system gives students an advantage because if you have a bad day, I mean, and 2 years of being a good test writer is tested. Canada would prefer that we have a well-rounded student coming out as opposed to a strong test writer. That's a broad brush to paint, but you will have every advantage with an OSSD without having to write these standardized tests. The NBA Eligibility Center. On the bottom are the requirements that you need to have in order to be accepted as an NCAA athlete. So we monitor those for you. It was one of those comments that I had made earlier where, as parents we try to do everything that we can, but sometimes we just don't know. We haven't been through the process. All right, 10 years ago I hadn't been through the process. My kids, I went to school in Canada. and my son wanted to play hockey in the US. So all of this was as foreign as you can imagine. But all of our kids from the beginning are registered at the NCAA Eligibility Center, even if you're not planning to go. It just gives you one more advantage, one more choice. And if you're at Chelsea or an Armand and all of a sudden you find this gift from somewhere that you didn't know you had, and it vaults you forward when it's your time, it's nice to have this option. So this is something we register all of our kids in, and we track the requirements for NCAA. So and we have a lot of experience. I should also say, enrolled this year in NPU around the world are 2,000 students. So we're not talking about 35 kids in Thailand. We're talking about 2,000 NPU students. So we have a lot of kids that are going through this process, and the education is I refer to it as being bulletproof. He was interviewing with one of the Ivy League schools, Princeton, I think. And in the middle of his interview with Princeton, he mentioned that he could play the piano. He's actually a concert pianist, and we didn't know. He was with us, working with us while he was taking his gap year. He had not yet been accepted to a university and was still looking at various options. But this is a remarkable player. He's probably a 2 or a 3 handicap, so he's just above that borderline for the top schools and being considered. But he's an excellent student. More importantly, he's an incredible human being with a multitude of skills. But he wanted to play golf at college. And through this process, by having people around him with a lot of experience in NCAA, because when we talk about scholarships, all we think about is D1 full ride. And nothing could be more limiting, because some of the schools giving away D1 full rides are not the quality of academic institution that, let's say, an Ivy League would be, or a non-Ivy League premier education. And would you rather go to University of South Florida on a D1 full ride, or would you rather go to Princeton or Harvard or another school? How do you make that decision? Well, one of the things that Tim got a benefit of was understanding what the big schools were looking for, but also looked at some of the small schools. So in the end, Tim got a 50% scholarship playing golf, and admitted to one of the top D3 schools in the United States. D3 only refers to size. The quality of education was on par with the Ivy League schools. Before he came to us, while he was finishing his education in the UK, he was looking at, as you would expect, the Ivies, Stanfords, and had interviews with all of them. Didn't get what he was looking for, decided to take a gap year, come to JAGA, and be one of our interns, one of our mentors for the younger kids, and having a full schedule. While he was there, he took the extra time to explore a little bit more. And he wound up getting a 50% scholarship. That money, I'll ask the parents this question. Does it matter to you if you get a 50% golf scholarship or a 50% academic scholarship? It's all money as I see it. And these are some of the attitudinal changes that become available once you understand the system better. OSSD as a tool will vault you ahead of many other programs if you're looking at academic scholarship. But in Tim's case, he's going to one of the top academic schools, a smaller school with I think less than 2,000 students, and he's been given a spot on the golf team, his dreams. I don't know if you want to add anything to Tim, but it's a remarkable.
We try to give you one-on-one assessments. Next 2 days, I try to give you continuity with the same coach who did your assessment. so that he works on whatever he identifies. And third day, we just exposed you to the testing environment. First we did skills challenge, followed by a tournament, gave you some awards, and all of you put in, Alan, any departing thoughts?
No, I've had a great time. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I've been here before, a long, long time ago. But it's been a real pleasure. You're a wonderful group. Probably, the best camp I've ever done. Obviously, thank you to Arjun and DK, and of course you, the students. Amazing, absolutely amazing. So I just wish you all the best, and I'm getting emotional again. So I'll miss you. I'll be back, and I'm part of JAGA as well. So John's just going to phone me up and tell me where to go. So,
a really great week. I've done a lot of camps in my life in different sports. And I have to say that this week was something special, and it is special only because of who you are, each person. So thank you for everything. You were all smiles all the time. Me too, getting a bit emotional. So all smiles, good spirit, open. And that's a really important thing if you want to move forward. Open mind. So yeah, thank you very much. It was a pleasure, and I will be here for probably the next 2 weeks. So if you have any questions and you want to reach out, you just want to hang out, you want to come hit some balls at Zen, I'll be there, and it's going to be my pleasure to have a little talk with you and watch you swing and just enjoy. All right?
I love the conversation, and I can tell you the sincerity with which you guys came and opened up to the opportunity, and our coaches and leadership team delivered. I could be today at any of our campuses, and it's the same. There's something about people and their children that brings out the best in people. And that's really what we look for. We're all about culture. There are other academies, there are other golf coaches, there are others that have the data points, but don't connect them for whatever reason. The culture is a big part of what we do. And if you leave with nothing other than, wouldn't it be more fun to play as a team than by myself, then I think the week was successful. But I can tell you, behind that are some bumps, the JAGA bumps as I call them. You will become a better golfer, you just will, when we declutter your life. You will become a better student, because we're not going to be wasting a lot of time like happens in a normal school with recesses and extended lunches. It's an intensive program for people that are focused and want to get to the next level. And because of that, we do attract the best people. We're not for everybody, we know that. And when I say we solve a problem, I thought in our first campus we would be 70% Thai and 30% international. It's just the opposite. We're 70% international with kids from 10 countries. What do these 10 kids have in common? Exactly what you've gone through this week. They are capable people, quality individuals, ready to make a big step and make a commitment to your future. And that's why we attracted kids from 10 countries to our first campus. So the takeaway here is, if you are ready and you think you want to push yourself to the next level, JAGA can help you do that. And it doesn't matter if it's in Classic or any of our other markets. The spirit and that culture is the same. So thank you for giving us the opportunity. We can't be more excited about coming to the most populous country in the world and what the future holds for us. But I can tell you from a JAGA perspective, this is only our first step. In the next couple months, I plan to make a couple of announcements and investments in India to expand our reach, to continue to develop our story, take into considerations the different green conditions and short game conditions that exist here uniquely, and build those into our model. But rest assured, JAGA is making a long-term commitment, not only to India, but to the players for your success. and you're being teased a little bit by one of your own doing so well on the international scale. But our belief is that's a long line that is just getting started, and we're very excited to be a part of it. So thank you very much. Great effort this week. Parents, I'm glad that you were a part of it as well. And when you read the report card, read the parents section at the end, because there's a spot there for you as well. So thank you.
And see you soon in the follow-up camp.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all that matters.
I look here as well.
Is that?
Hey guys, all the best. Keep off these Domino's pizzas.
Girls are getting emotional.
Smile, smile, smile.